Hey everyone, I am the TheChosenOneLegend here, as always joined by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Kai, also known as Fascurreyn.
And welcome back to the BunchaJokahs podcast, where we talk about all the various gaming highlights and news from the past month. And we've kind of got slim pickings this past month, which I suppose is to be expected given we're winding down towards the end of the year. But how have you been, Kai? You been good?
Yeah, I've been good, I've been chilling. There's not been much to talk about this month. There's really not a lot going on. But, as we go into maybe Christmas and then especially all the releases next year, I'm sure things are really going to pick up again.
Most definitely. And there's a few more than I expected here, so we've still got some stuff to talk about, plus whatever games we've been playing, and I think Kai and I have both got some ones we're quite enjoyed this month, so we should have a good show ahead of us. There will be timestamps in the description below if you do want to hop it out between the different sections. But without further ado, let's get on with our first section of the podcast. Can't have a podcast without news, baby, where we go through the news highlights. And the first one, I'm actually going to pass over to you, Kai, because Among Us got an update that added some new roles and some new cosmetics and stuff to the game, and I think you might have a bit more to say about this than me, so what are sort of the highlights of this, Kai?
I completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
I think I've only played with all this new stuff like twice maybe, but it's honestly mixed. So I'll start off with the stuff I'm not a huge fan of. Is they've added a lot of things that are normally good for games, but I feel like are very unnecessary. So this is like, there's a level up system now where you just level up from playing games.
Yeah.
There's achievements now, like do 50 tasks or whatever.
There's a whole in-game currency, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a whole in-game currency surrounding all of it, and I just think like, for a party game where people just do what they want and whatever, I feel like it's not the kind of game that needs achievements. Like at the same time, they don't hurt, but
yeah,
I thought that's a bit odd. I guess they just put it in because they could.
I guess if they make more money, they make the game better for everyone. If it doesn't obstruct the main game, it's fine, but it is a bit odd to see it all there.
Yeah, it's just weird to see is all. They have added in like more sort of microtransactions now, so they've got one currency that you earn, and then I believe one that you pay for, and both of them are used to unlock new outfits and that sort of thing. And there's also what I keep describing it as, it's like a skill tree, but for unlocking cosmetics with the currencies. And this again falls into the category of really weird and unnecessary. Like, it's not doing any harm, but it's just questionable.
Yeah.
So I suppose it could be worse, but it's just weird. But that's basically all of the negatives. Apart from that, I think there's probably been a couple UI changes, which are always good to see. The 15-player lobbies, I think we mentioned a while back, but they're still, they're good. I really enjoy them. We're still yet to actually play in a full 15-player lobby, but I'm sure that'll happen soon enough. And then the good stuff is, as you say, the new roles. And they're interesting. I was worried, admittedly, because I thought, well, the game is good as it is, fairly simple. And I was concerned that these were going to make things really complicated and the rules were going to be, it was all going to be like overpowered and stuff.
Yeah.
But they've balanced it really well. All of the roles, the new ones, should I go through them, or is that something to leave out?
Yeah, if you want to do go sort of brief highlight of them, yeah, sure.
Okay, so the first crewmate role is engineer that you can get, and this is quite simple. You're allowed to use vents, but you do have a cooldown on using them. So I guess it just helps you get around the map quicker. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I can see its uses. Second up, you have I forget its name, I think it's the scientist, where you have the vitals check on you, where you can see if people are alive or dead. And you can check it at any point, but you have like a timer on it, and the timer is refilled as you do tasks. So you can't just sit around and wait for people to die and like constantly check it. You can only check it for like split seconds, and you have to keep doing tasks to be able to use it. So I like how they've balanced that.
That's smart, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. And then the final one is the shapeshifter, which I don't even think I've seen yet, where you're able to morph into other characters, other players.
That could be chaos.
Deceive people. It's one of those ones where I think it's the hardest one to use. It sounds incredibly difficult, but if you pull it off, then that's like insanely good. So I'm really excited to see how that plays with the hype factor.
I believe our friend, I think it might have been Jack, who said that it's so overpowered if you're in a random lobby. and you just say who to vote for, and everyone votes for it, and that works with you. I suppose it's harder to pull off when you're actually in voice chat with people and stuff. But
yeah, that sounds about right. But
didn't they add something that the first person who dies can do as well?
Oh yeah, I've completely forgot about that role. Guardian Angel. So the first player who dies has a chance of becoming the Guardian Angel. Where I haven't been it yet, so I don't know the details. But
that's a shock.
You get to protect crewmates. Yeah, I know. When we played last, I didn't die first, like at all. It was crazy.
Whoa.
I did get 3 imposter games in a row, so maybe that's why.
That's fair.
But, yeah, but you get to protect crewmates apparently. Like if an imposter kills and the Guardian Angel's protecting the crewmate, then that's you get to protect them. I am looking forward to trying it out, to be honest, because it's a really good way of getting that first player who dies involved in the game after they died, because there really isn't a lot to do at that point. So I think that's a really good addition.
Yeah, generally, I haven't actually got to try it out yet, but it seems like it's just a good array of updates, and they're all optional as well, aren't they? They're roles you can turn on or off. So
yeah, exactly. They're all roles you can turn on or off. You can change the frequency of how many people have the roles, the percentage, and then you can also change the individual stats on the roles, such as how long can the scientists look at their chart for? What's the cooldown on the engineers thing? They all have those like extra different menu things that you can change to balance it out.
Yeah.
And from our experience, it hasn't been a huge impact on the gameplay, which is good. Like it's just been a small extra thing to mix things up, but it hasn't changed the core gameplay. So I think they did it really well, and I'm looking forward to seeing if they do anything more with the roles, because I think there's potential.
Definitely there. It's good to see that it's been over a year and they're still updating the game and keeping it fresh. So that's good to hear. But as for our next story, let's go for something negative. I didn't even really need to include this, but I just thought it'd be quite funny, and with low on stories. The GTA Trilogy, that's been a train wreck, hasn't it?
I've hardly even kept up to date with it, but I know the stories.
It's just so funny that it's kind of sad, but essentially the trilogy released, which is, I don't even remember which games it is, San Andreas and 2 and 3 or something like that. I don't know. It's just a collection of GTA ports, but they've remastered the graphics to where everyone looks like they're slightly melting. And then there's all sorts of an entourage of glitches and game-breaking bugs, and rain will suddenly stop and then start, and it seems to be a thing of just people complain about like Skyward Sword being like paying full price for like a basic port, but damn, at least it functions. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Rockstar will do everything except release a new GTA game.
Yeah, and they didn't even make this.
Just like Elder Scrolls.
They outsourced it as well, so they didn't even make this, which is the funnier part. But
there you go. It's just like, it's these companies that they'll do anything except release new games.
Yeah, and it's like, if you're going to do it, at least do it functional. I mean, at least make it so you can baseline play the game and it's as good as the original at least. If you're making it worse than a selection of PS2 games that are 20 years old at this point, yeah, you've sort of got a problem on your hands there, but
just play Simpsons Hit and Run instead.
Oh god, I mentioned that I want that in my remasters. I did say that, but if they do it like this, I am changing my mind. Just port it, please. Just add it to, I don't know, have like a PlayStation 2 online on Sony, like Nintendo has something, I don't know. But I just wanted to quickly mention that because that was quite funny. But
fair enough, yeah.
Next thing, probably the biggest news we've had is the Game Awards have released their nominees. And we're not going to go over everything because we would be here in eternity. But the Game of the Year 2021 nominees are Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village. And I don't think you have to ask me what my vote goes towards, but
what does your vote go towards?
I think Resident Evil Village, it's just... No, it's Metroid Dread, yeah.
Yeah, fair
Granted, this seems like a good selection of games, I haven't played any of them except Dread, but... Solid year, I'd say. What do you think of these, Kai? Having played none of them.
I'm pretty happy with it. Overall, I've not played any of them, but overall I think it looks good. I'm just quite happy with it again, even if I'm not too familiar with it all. I know people were upset about like I think it was Forza Horizon or
Yeah,
something like that. People were like, that should have been the game of the year. That's an outrage. But honestly, I don't know the game enough to care about that. So
I feel like it's one of those
yeah,
things where the Game Awards it goes for a certain style and a certain type of audience. So racing
yeah,
games are not likely to make the cut, deservedly or so. Deservedly or deservedly not, that I mean. And it's the same with Metroid Dread. I'm surprised it made it on there. I don't think it has a chance of winning. But
yeah.
I guess let's just throw a prediction out right now. If you had to pick one of these games that you think will win, what do you think it would be?
My easy pick is It Takes Two. It's actually a good opportunity to talk about that because I've not played it myself.
Hmm.
But I have looked into It Takes Two a lot. Like seeing everything the game has to offer, and it is legitimately. It looks like a spectacular game. Like I would be very happy if it won because it's got like the entire game. It's a 3D platformer, but the entire
Hmm.
game has like every single gameplay sort of dynamic you could possibly anticipate. It's one of those ones where you have to play a split screen with two players. It's like a full-on cooperation game. But they like have every single mechanic you could possibly think of in the game, and it's just really cool how it all meshes together. The story is good, like it's not very complex, but it's still all right.
Hmm.
And just overall, the amount of different themes they bring into the game across it, like the amount of different levels, is insane. This is probably one slight criticism I have, which probably no one else has, is I thought that the end of the game, like I thought, oh, okay, this is probably like near the end of the game, this part right here, and then I realised actually it's only like 25% through the game, like it hardly
Right.
started. So I spent the rest of the game thinking, is it not almost over? How is it still
Yeah.
going? So it goes on for a long time, but every like 10, 20 minutes, it's just a new gameplay mechanic that makes it really interesting. There's like huge open areas, mini games. It's got everything, so I'd be very
Hmm.
happy if it won.
Yeah, I don't know much about the game, but everything I've heard has been so glowing that I'm with you there. That would be my prediction to win, and it's probably going to sweep a few awards because it's been nominated for several categories, I believe. But yeah, it
Hmm.
seems all in all, I think I'd be pretty much. I mean, ultimately the game awards are meaningless, so I don't really care. But I think any of
Yeah.
those would be a worthy winner, not or a decent enough pick. There's nothing like it's not like Cyberpunk's up on there or so
I don't know. I think The Last of Us 2 deserves to win again. I don't know about you,
always possible. Wouldn't be surprised at
but
this point. But let's thank you for that, dog. But let's talk a bit about the Game Awards themselves a moment because now we don't really care for them much, as I think we mentioned a bit last year. But do you think? Great.
damn, Dora's a huge fan of Game Awards.
No, she's mad. She's like, no, I don't want it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
She's very angry. Okay, I think she's quiet now. I'm gonna go for it and see what I decide to cut out of this. Anyway, so do you think we'll get any big Nintendo announcements at the Game Awards? Because there's no Smash anymore. We're done with Smash. Do you think we could get like a Breath of the Wild 2 trailer? Now, which is a bit of a stretch, but we did get a Breath of the Wild trailer at the Game Awards. Do you think that's possible?
Possible? Yes. I think it's absolutely
Likely?
possible. No.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to happen, realistically. I think that, if anything, it's always like, oh, there might be a Smash trailer. But, yeah, just, I don't know. I can't see them releasing a trailer. If they do, then brilliant. That'd be great. But now that Smash is over, I just can't envision anything apart from maybe a Breath of the Wild 2 trailer releasing. I don't know. I
I
mean,
mean, we
the absolute dream is that they announce story mode for Ultimate, but again, they're not going to do that. The game's done. So,
don't do that. Don't give me hope.
yeah.
I think we could get something like. We'll probably get something from Nintendo. It might be like another Bayonetta 3 trailer, maybe. Or something along those lines. If you want to be really
Oh,
optimistic, Prime Trilogy announcement or something, but.
yeah, well, I was just thinking, of course, Metroid Dread is, in candidate for the Game Awards. I haven't played the game, so I could be wrong, but is there a chance of them announcing, like, DLC for it, or is that not
Oh,
a
I
thing, do
hadn't
you think?
even I had not considered that possibility. That would be so good. I mean,
I'm giving you too much hope that's not going
you
to happen
have.
now.
You're going to just crush me this month, Kai. But it's definitely possible. I mean, there's easily ways they could do it. Whether it's just like a small bonus campaign in a small area, or they added like, here's one extra spot that takes an elevator to a new area in the game, which has an optional content, and maybe some like past bosses that weren't in this game as optional fights or something. It's definitely something that they could easily do. Whether or not they will, I don't know. I guess they might not have known how successful Dread was going to be, so I'm not sure if it's the kind of thing they would have pre-planned DLC for, but that would be incredible. That would definitely be hype enough for me, so fingers crossed now. I hadn't even considered that, and now I want it, darn you. But yeah, we'll of course keep an eye on that. We're not going to do any reacting to it because it's bloody long, and we're not going to get like a Smash trailer, so...
we're not bothering.
But if there's anything huge, we might do a video on it maybe, so we'll keep an eye out for what happens. Mm-hmm. But until then, we did get one final announcement this month, which is just weird. I think there's no better way to put it. Warner Brothers Multiversus was announced, which is a platform fighter, so a Smash clone to put it in the way it basically is, which is free to play and features a mixture of characters such as, and hold your breath here guys, Finn and Jake from Adventure Time, Batman, Wonder Woman and Superman and Harley Quinn from DC, Bugs Bunny, Shaggy, Tom and Jerry, Steven Universe, Arya Stark from Game of Thrones. What the heck is this?
Insanity, I think it's the way it is what it is.
They literally have Shaggy doing like the Ultra Instinct Shaggy thing from the memes. It's just, they know how dumb it is, and I'm intrigued.
To me, it does look like another fan game, but honestly, yeah. I mean, the only reason I wasn't a huge fan of the Nicktoons All-Star game was that fans are like, oh, it's better than Smash, when it's clearly not.
Yeah.
But no, I like these sort of like, similar spin-off type games coming out and just doing these wacky concepts. It is like a meme Smash Bros. And yeah, I'm here for it, sure.
Yeah, where else can you have Arya Stark fight Shaggy in a duel to the death? So I guess it's definitely got that Smash levels of craziness that I think maybe Nicktoons didn't have as much of the extent of. So, and also it's free to play, which could be a big disaster depending on how they handle monetization. But at the very least, it means I'm going to try it out, because why wouldn't I if it's free? So I think it's coming out sometime next year, but it's one to keep an eye on at least. So it's caught my interest. It's never going to replace Smash for me. I don't think anything ever could. But I might have some fun with it.
Grabbed you?
It's not really grabbing me, to be honest, Kai. I have to tell you, it's
Ni no Kuni all over again.
Oh no, the flashbacks. But that is basically it for our news for the month. However, we do have our next segment of the podcast, Games Time Baby, where we talk about different games that we've been playing this past month or so. And Kai, how many have you got to talk about here?
I'm negotiable. I can either do like one or two.
Okay. Well, I've got two, so I'll start things off with one of mine, and I'll let you decide how many you want to do.
I'll just do one.
Democracy.
It's a long one, so
got to get an odd number. But I'm going to start things off with a PlayStation game, which I played at the start of this month on PS Plus, the PS5 collection, which, because I didn't own a PS4, it's allowed me to go back and try out some PS4 games, so it's been quite handy for me. And one of those was God of War, the 2018 reboot of the series. Well, soft reboot that's still in the continuity. And I went into this having not played the originals. Thankfully, you don't need to. I do think if you have, there will be some benefits and things that you find cooler. But it does a decent enough job of explaining everything and making everything clear what it's meant to be meaning. And it's a good game, I really enjoyed my time with it. I'm a big sucker for mythology, as I've mentioned a few times before. I read the Percy Jackson books religiously as a kid, and as an adult, I'm not gonna lie, and they're damn good. So this sort of thing with Norse mythology is right up my alley, and it does it perfectly. It sort of really brings to life this sort of mystical world, especially through the visuals and how they can do things like the world serpent, this giant huge serpent, like a building size reaching up above you, and that kind of visuals fidelity. It really makes the use of the power of the system, and that's probably the biggest praise I have for the game is how damn good it looks. But it's also a solid action game as well. The combat's pretty good, switching between weapons, sort of fast-paced, blocking and countering moves, which is always satisfying to pull off. Weirdly, for God of War, I feel like the intimate fights between just like humans or smaller people were better than the big scale fights, which are sort of what I expected to enjoy more, but I thought it was better when it was a bit more down to earth.
Makes sense.
But all in all, it told a nice, compelling story about Kratos and his son Atreus, and Atreus even, and it was just a fun time. I do think, I don't know, I expected maybe a little bit more from how well praised this game has been. I mean, to talk again about Game Awards, this won Game of the Year 2018, I think. And, of course, Game Awards are meaningless, subjective, and I don't even know what the heck it was up against. But there's nothing in it that's special, I wouldn't say. There's nothing that's like, yeah, this is Game of the Year level. It's just like a solid, fun time, but I don't see myself ever feeling like I need to go back to it, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But I'd still recommend it to anyone, especially if you've got it, were able to get it on the PS Plus collection for free like I was, because, I mean, that's a no-brainer at that point. But it was a fun game, and I am definitely glad I tried it out, even if boy was in my head for like 20 years after that. It's just going to be permanently stuck there.
My boy.
Not that kind, Kai. No, bad Kai. We did not go to CDI Zelda games. But give me a game you've been playing, and Kai, what do you want to talk about?
I'll do my big one. If I haven't mentioned it on enough podcasts that I'm still playing it already. Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, specifically Great Ace Attorney Adventures, is finally done.
It's over.
Oh boy, what a good game.
It's finally over.
Yeah, I've been playing it for like, what did we say, like 4.5 months now?
Yeah, since mid-August, yeah.
I just want to make one thing clear, I want to get it out of the way. Online, when it says how long does it take to beat this game, it says 30 hours. It does not take 30 hours to beat this game. It took me like 65. It does not take 30. But anyway, I was going into this on a stream like, yeah, this is probably good, it'll take a couple months, it'll be a good one. But this is like really, really good game. Like, people say that the Resolve, the second one in the pack, is even better.
I've heard that.
When you put that together, when I'll be playing that in a couple months, it has potential to be in like my top 5 game sets of the year. Like legitimately, this one alone, start off the music was really good. I've been listening to the soundtrack of that ever since I beat the game, and it's just like fantastic. It does the job, well orchestrated. The puzzles in the crimes, what to figure out. I did get a little stuck at times, but overall, like, it was very well done. Of course, I won't go into details, but
yeah,
I did like. What each of the cases did to make them unique, where you find the solution and you think, damn, how didn't I realise this earlier, and that sort of thing. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of theories, and one of my favourite things about the puzzles is that they feel very open. Like at the beginning of every trial, I was like, there are so many ways that this could possibly go. Because I genuinely didn't know what direction the trials would take. Like, is it this person? Are they going to go down this line? What's the motive? There was a lot of options, and I don't know if that was deliberately done, but it kept me on my toes.
I guess that means it's never like obvious, which is probably a good sort of thing for that kind of game.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is some of the outcomes felt obvious, and then it was like, but there's a lot of obvious outcomes by the looks of it, depending on how just you slightly tweak the evidence. On top of that, the story leading into that was good. Again, a lot of this game, it should be made clear, this and Ace Attorney Resolve, they are an absolute collection together. This game did, on its own, like if there wasn't a sequel, wouldn't be great, because this game felt entirely like set up for the second.
Right.
Of course, I got to Trial 5, which is the last one in the game. It's meant to be the big one, and even then, it felt to me like we were only halfway through the game. Everything felt like set up through the entire game, and I was thinking, like, damn, things are sort of moving really slowly with just having loads of build-up and not a lot of action. But that is because that's what Resolve, the second game, does. It expands upon all of it and resolves things, funnily enough. But this game on its own still, it did a really good job of setting things up. It set up plenty of mysteries for me to speculate about. And I guess the highlight I should mention is, of course, the characters. I don't think that there's... I know I said it about World's End Club the other month, but I think this game, there's not been a cast of characters that I'm more interested in than this lot. They are just spectacular. Like, at first I was thinking, they're just going to be like, sort of regular Ace Attorney characters, they're going to be wacky or whatever. But no, these characters genuinely, they felt like characters I was really invested in, rather than they're wacky and they'll be gone by the next chapter. They actually stuck around, they had impact. And whereas in a lot of the other Ace Attorney games, which I've not played for the record, it sort of feels like all the cases are very separate. Although the trials here are still, of course, the fact that a lot of the characters are recurring does make it feel like a very good, coherent plot to include all the characters in.
Yeah.
And if I ever make a character tier list for this game, I'm going to struggle because there's a lot of S tiers. Let me tell you that. There's a lot of good characters. Particularly on my streams, there's a lot to simp over, we'll say that.
I have heard stories of the simping that occurred in your Twitch chat. I was not there, sadly, but I suppose in that aspect maybe that's for the best. But
But yeah, they're just absolutely spectacular. Everyone's got their own personality. They've all got good lines. I guess I don't want to talk about too many characters, but the main character, Ryunosuke, I was thinking he's just going to be like Phoenix Wright, but he hasn't got as good of a haircut. But no, in this game alone, his arc has been really good. We're at the start of it. He's very... I call him beady-eyed fella, because he's got really beady eyes at the beginning of the game. He's like really unsure of everything. But then as the game goes on, he's just like sort of becomes quite confident.
I did like, because I watched the very start of your stream. I watched the first two, and already, I mean, it says enough that got me invested enough that I had to stop watching because I wanted to buy it myself. But I like how he would slam the table, but then sort of like hesitate, like wait, and move his hands up.
Yeah,
like that kind of small detail in the character animation really goes a long way. Yeah,
it really showed who he is, and that just continues through the game. And I think my favourite thing about him is you can see where Phoenix Wright got his sort of like witty comments in his head from, because Ryunosuke does that, and he does it even better. Like just all the time, I'll say something on the stream, like I'll make a sort of half sarcastic, witty comment, and then Ryunosuke will say basically the exact same thing or something like that.
Yeah.
But then again, all the side characters are possibly even better. The ones that aren't really spoilery based is Kazuma, who's the absolute goat. I'll just say that. He's just best boy. Simple as that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I've gushed about him endlessly. Herlock is brilliant. He's like the most chaotic guy.
All I've seen is these gifs of him spinning, and it says Herlock in the microwave or something, and I have no clue what that's about.
He spins a lot. He spins a lot, and he makes a lot of great deductions, we'll say. Iris Wilson is another character, and Iris, she's like the small pink-haired girl that's on a lot of the cover art and stuff.
Right, yeah.
And she doesn't come into the game for a long time, but when she does start appearing and doing her thing, she genuinely like carried a lot of the game, like near the end with her character, because all the other characters were already established, and it's like, they're still brilliant, but they're not new. Then Iris came in and really did a good job. Sasato, who's the judicial assistant, is the final one I'll talk about, I guess, and she was just an absolute pleasure as well. Like, it's like Maya Fey, but better.
Yeah,
just straight up. But yeah, overall, again, like all the characters, even the side ones I haven't mentioned, are just brilliant. Like, they're all spectacular characters, and that's like the real charm of the game. Is as I was getting to the very end of it, I was like, damn, I'm attached to these characters like I haven't been with any of the other casts of games. So just overall, like, the game does everything right. So yeah, definitely recommend it.
It's as I mentioned to you before recording this, it's on my list. the
It's on the
ever-growing,
list. Well,
ever-expanding list. But
I'll be playing Resolve at some point, not immediately, although I was recommended to and I really do want to. For the sake of being fair for streams, I'm not going to be playing it Resolve until earliest February next year.
right.
But man, I want to play it. Oh, it's so good.
I'll probably get it early next year, and then I might just go straight on to the Great Ace Attorney rather than the original trilogy, just so I can catch up. But we'll see how that goes.
I would recommend it, to be honest. It's completely separate, so.
But yeah, that sounds good. I'm definitely looking forward to getting around to playing it.
So
And
good.
for me, for my second game, which is completely different to anything we've discussed so far here, Mario Party! We are talking
Hey.
Mario Party Superstars. And hot damn, it's Mario Party. It sure is Mario Party, that's all I can say. It's good. I've literally only played 2 games. Because I have no friends to play it with, which hopefully will change eventually. But one of those games, thankfully, was with a local friend who I was able to meet up with on 2 different occasions to sort of play the game. Thankfully, it's got some nice quality of life, like being able to split up a game between multiple sessions, so that was handy. And I really don't know what more I can say here than other than it is pure, unadulterated Mario Party. It is exactly what you want, and it's exactly what you'll get. No car, no gimmick, and I didn't even hate the car and stuff, but this is just Mario Party at its best. You've got some great boards, you've got a collection of great mini-games from all 10 of the main entries, and it just completely nails the feel of it. And I could go on for a while here, like going into the intricacies of what happened in our game and all the different stuff, but we'd be here in eternity. So just to give you a brief summary of my game I played with my friend. After the first session, when we stopped sort of halfway through, I was at 0 stars and he was at 3 stars. Just because Mario Party being Mario Party, I was just getting god-awful rolls and not landing on anything. I had loads of money, just nothing, I was never getting any stars. Then we cut to the second day we played it. And in like the last 4 turns, I managed to get an event which allows me to steal a star from every player in exchange for the 150 coins that I'd saved up. And directly afterwards, in that same turn, I land on a chance time and cause my friend to lose all his stars and money to a CPU they swapped and the CPU had nothing. And I won the game, and
That's
and
Mario Party.
he was pissed, and that is Mario Party. And it's just because the thing with Mario Party winning, it's that beautiful combination of skill and luck. Because there was the skill element that I'd saved up enough coins from winning a good amount of mini games, and that I had a sort of plan in my head where I'd got a skeleton key that I could use to go to that event space. But there was also the luck element where it needed to be at night, and my friend happened to land on the night space just before I got there, and then me happening to land on chance time and cause him to lose stuff, which was necessary because he won almost all of the minigame, or the bonus stars, so he would have won if it wasn't for that chance time. So it was just the way that the luck and the skill combines together. When it happens to you and you win, it's the most glorious feeling in the world. When you're the loser, you want to kill someone, but that is Mario Party, and it's friendship breaking, it's heart destroying, but it's so much fun. So yeah, I'm looking, and as Kai said to me earlier, you're planning to get this next year, right, or end of the year? So
I'll be getting it for Christmas, so next year, yeah, look out for them.
We are absolutely doing some stuff for the channel here, yeah.
Yeah.
It will be, I say fun, it might be the end of the channel. It could destroy it. It's very possible, but what a way to go out if it does. I mean, man, it's fun.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Exactly. The only thing it's missing is, what's his name? Is it the Ballyho or whatever, the guy from Mario Party 8?
MC Ballyhoo, yeah.
Yep. I'm just going to add some... Shut up! I'm just going to add loads of effects from him in here now. It's just... it's so good, but yeah, it's Mario Party. That was scarily good, Kai. Did you do the voice for him?
Yeah, shh, don't tell anyone.
I mean, you didn't do the voice of him. You heard nothing.
Yeah, I didn't.
But yeah, it's fun, and I definitely recommend it to anyone who's on the fence about it. It's especially with online, which I haven't got to test out yet, but I've heard that it runs flawlessly, and as long as that's all it does, then it's going to be fun time. So yeah, pick it up, and please play it with me because I need friends. So yeah. But that brings us basically to the end of the podcast then, and our final main podcast for the year, which is always ridiculous to say. Times are weird. Now, we won't be doing the Game Awards for December like we did last year, partly because it went on too long, and partly because we didn't play many games that came out this year, if any, like 1 or 2.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
We will be doing, in the middle of January, we will be doing a year in review, looking back on 2021. So we'll have a video on that to look forward to. Plus, we're going to be doing, of course, a middle of the month video for December. Possibly winter themed, but Kai and I need to discuss that after this, actually, because we haven't decided yet. But until then, just stay tuned here on the YouTube channel or on Spotify, depending on where you're listening. Either works, for more content and more podcasts and all sorts of other things too. Kai, where else can people find you at?
Oh, they can find me at twitch.tv/Fascurreyn, don't you know? And, oh boy, I'm not playing Great Ace Attorney anymore for a while. So you don't need to worry about spoilers. I'll be doing a big variety this sort of through December and January. And that'll be reflected in the future podcast videos, where I'm going to be playing a lot of multiplayer, just for a bit of a laugh, and a lot of demos for different games. So look forward to seeing, how I react to those. Feel free to
Dragon Quest
if you feel like it.
Yeah, the Dragon Quest XI demo will take as long as Great Ace Attorney on its own, so we're...
That was genuinely one of the considerations. That is on the list, so we'll see.
Looking forward to it. But yeah, so check that out. There'll be a link in the description below, as said. So give it a look. And until then, stay tuned, and we will see you in the next video. Take care and have a good Christmas. Goodbye.
Bye.